All right, everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome to the finale of the month of metal. I decided, or I guess not decided, I realized that the month of metal didn't have any Space Marines in it, and that seemed a little sacrilegious, doing a series focused on Warhammer miniatures and having no Space Marines in it. So I chose this Vanguard Vet. He's got a nice pose for painting on camera because his arms are out to the side. You can see all the details quite nicely, so I went with him. I primed this guy with Enchanted Blue from Krylon, and then Zenithaled him with Pale Clamshell. I then started in here with Talisar Blue, and I just covered all the armor with this. I wasn't too concerned about getting it on other things because I knew I was going to use mostly layer paint for everything else. So if, I got blue on the leather or on the metal or whatever, I wasn't super concerned about it. So I just messily covered the whole miniature with this color. Then I got some Black Templar and base coated all the metal. This is dark enough that it'll cover over the blue even if I did make some mistakes or got a little messy while doing the blue. So it was fine. I base coated, as you can see here, the weapons, and then his chest straps, all the joints in his armor, his grenades, the vents in his jump pack, and several other details on his jump pack. Just went through being careful to avoid the blue parts of the armor and just getting a solid base coat laid down. Then I started in with the layer paint, and I started with Tree Ancient from the Fanatic line from the Army Painter, and I just used this for the leather. He doesn't have a ton of it, just this one pouch here, and then his belt and the wrap around his sword. Then I used some plate mail metal and base coated all the silver details. So his belt buckle, his sword blade, all the rivets on his armor, the pipes on his jump pack, and then the various chains that he has around him. Oh, and the sections of the grenade. I also did that with this. And then finally a couple details on the bolt pistol. Then I used some Scale 75 Necro Gold and painted all the skulls and the little trinkets that were hanging on the chains. He's got quite a few skulls. He's a vet, so he's got skulls all over him. He's also from the late 90s, early 2000s, so he's definitely got skulls all over him. So I knew I was going to come back and do the Laurels in green, but each Laurel has a skull in the middle of it, so I did that in gold. And then I also did the details on the sword in gold. Then I came in with a forest green and painted the Laurels. He's got several Laurels on him. I don't remember this. Well, I do remember actually. I was gonna say I don't remember what color, what chapter this guy was painted as in the box art back in the day, but it was Ultramarines. Everything is painted in the Ultramarines paint scheme. But I don't know if they painted these Laurels as the classic green Ultramarine Laurels or if they painted them as if they were part of the armor. Not sure. I didn't look up the box art before I painted this guy, but I wanted a pop of green on him, so I painted them in the classic Ultramarines green. Then I took some Tomb King tan and painted the parchment on his purity seals with this. He's got one on his right leg here, some on his jump pack, and then a couple on his bolt pistol. Then for the wax on the purity seals, I used some Basilisk Red. Then for the white trim, I used some Bold Titanium White from Monument, and I chose this because it covers really well. I did end up sort of having to do a sort of a second coat, not a complete coverage coat, but in a couple places the blue was still shining through just a little bit, so I did that second coat. But I did it for the top of his helmet here, his shoulder pad that has trim on it, and then a couple details around his wrists and on his backpack. Then I did a couple highlights. First, I took some Dragon Red and highlighted the Purity Seal wax. Then I took the black #1 from the Andrea Black set and highlighted the chest straps. Then I used some Luxian purple and just covered the sword with this. I had left one side of the sword black and painted the other side silver just to kind of give it a varied look. And I covered both halves with this purple. Then I used a couple paint markers. First was US Interior Yellow Green. Both these markers are from AK. And I used this to highlight the laurels that are in various places around his body. Then I used the gunmetal paint marker and just did some battle damage with this. I wasn't totally happy with how this looked. I think I needed to do these paint chips more in the middle of a darker area, like paint some black on, then use this in the middle of them. But for a speed paint, something that I'm not even sure I'll ever use this on the table. I don't play Ultramarines. I just felt like painting an Ultramarine today. So for something that's just going to sit on the shelf and remind me of the fun I had painting him, this was just fine for me. And then finally, I took some dark tone and just shaded basically everything that wasn't the armor on this guy. Oh, and that wasn't the white trim. But so all over the metal, all over the leather, the purity seals, in his joints, his eyes, all that stuff, the gold skulls, everything got this this wash on it. And with that, he was done. For his base, I used some new stuff that I actually acquired today. It's well, on the package it's called Varied Marble Chunks, and I thought it looked pretty cool. So I just snapped one of them in half, put his base tab in between the two halves, and glued the whole thing to the base. Painted the rock under his feet to match the marble color, and called it a day. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and thank you to everyone who watched all the way through the month of metal. I know the daily content is not necessarily something everybody likes, and getting spammed with notifications that another video has come out. But if you stuck through it, thank you very much. I greatly appreciate it. And I had a ton of fun painting these metal miniatures. These obviously won't be the last metal miniatures I ever paint, but I am looking forward to getting back to some plastic. Of course, I have been painting plastic in the background, not on camera, but nonetheless, to get back to painting some plastic on camera as well. But like I said, thank you everybody for watching. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos, and I will see you on the next one.